New year and new opportunities for paint companies to let you know about the upcoming paint color trends of the year. It's been really fascinating to see how each company plants their flag into the interior decorating space in different ways. Some double down on a more muted, neutral color scheme, while others think a little bit outside of the box. Dulux Paint not only had 3 colors of the year for 2021, but also 3 unique color palettes as well. The one we'll be discussing in today's video is called Be Well, and that's a message I think we can all stand behind this year. If you don't know me, I'm James from thepaintpeople.com, and if you enjoy color, you've made it to the right place. We specialize in videos all about painting and decorating, both on the practical and colorful side. So why not become a fellow paint person today by hitting that subscribe button and sharing this with any of your like-minded friends. We put out a video about Dulux Paint's colors of the year for 2021. So if you saw that, you may be familiar with the colors Big Cypress, Misty, AQUA, and Transcend. All 3 of these share the title of Color of the Year, and they're all dispersed one way or another throughout today's Be Well color palette. Assessing it at a glance, you'll notice that there's a decent variety of colors, nothing too aggressive or polarizing, but still a varied selection nonetheless. The wellness aspect, I feel, plays into the restorative and soothing nature of soft greens and blues, but with some earthy warmth to balance everything out as well. Looks like the anti-gray trend continues here, because there's only one color that's even close to it, and that's cool concrete. Although it's not really classified as a gray per se, it does feel like a cool beige, which is definitely a neutral color that a lot of you are probably familiar with. It has an LRV of 63, which puts it at that breaking point between light and mid-tone colors. I think it adds to its usability in a variety of different rooms, and just because of its makeup, you could even consider using it as a trim color if your wall colors are a lot darker in the same family of colors. Nothing too groundbreaking here, not gonna lie, but I don't think that this color's purpose is to stand out anyway. It seems to be the default choice, and that it only gets more fun after that. This leads us to our old friend Big Cypress, which was one of the colors of the year. It just does a great job at revitalizing that old trend of terracottas from the past, but its warm coral brown is muted just enough with some gray to make it more user-friendly. It's going to accent really strongly against whites and grays, so just be aware that even though it is muted slightly, it's still a very rich color, and will only really blend in a bit when it's used alongside darker red tinted woods like mahogany and cherry. A much lighter reddish tinted color is Winter Peach. With an LRV of 72, this peachy coral off-white is much brighter than the previous colors. Interestingly enough, the color chip that it sits on looks like it has a lot of browns next to it, but because of its lightness, that brown takes a back seat to that peachy pink quality the color has. You can make it an accent color by pairing it with even lighter off-whites that are a little more towards the creamy, yellow-based warmth side of things. Or you can just let it stand on its own as being a potential main color, but something quite a bit different from plain old beige. I think we're starting to see a pattern here because our next color is classified as a taupe, but even it has a dash of that red-brown we've seen in the last 2 colors. HELIOTROPE has an LRV of 31, which means it will appear fairly dark. On its own, it simply looks like a gray-brown, but the more grayscale the surroundings are, the more that pinky quality will come through and be more pronounced. Heliotrope flowers are extremely vibrant with purple, and although this has a tiny purple hue in cooler lighting, I find it's more so about a gray pinky brown combination. Really unique color, but maybe not for someone looking for a true taupe, which is just going to be more earthy and more gray dominant. Going along the same color chip to one of the lighter colors is Stone Quarry. With a 78 LRV, which is pretty high, it's light enough that you see much less of that peachy pinkiness found in Heliotrope, but the brown in it interacts with its creamy white quality in such a way that you get a hint of yellow-orange coming through in brightly lit areas. It could be used as a main color, but because of its balancing act of cream and red-brown, your lighting could shift it one way or another, maybe in a direction that you didn't intend it to. So just be careful of that. Silverleaf is our next color, and clearly we've taken a drastic turn towards green. Not just any green, however. This color has a fresh, minty pistachio gelato hue. Not quite that authentic, yellowy pistachio gelato. I'm more so talking about the food coloring injected stuff that just has that perfect shade of minty green. Its LRV is 43, so it is sort of in that mid-tone category, and immediately in kitchens and bathrooms, it's really a no-brainer. But also for bedrooms, because those are more personal spaces anyway, and it's really up to the user of that room to decide what color they want. Unless they're not paying for the room, then maybe their opinion doesn't matter as much. The color that really jumps out at me in this palette does so because it is completely different than any other color in the entire collection. In a sea of blues, greens, and earthy neutrals, we have Autumn Glow, which is a beautiful orangey gold. Its LRV is relatively moderate, around 56, but it's a bold color even though it reflects a good amount of light. This is going to be a statement color that is most appropriately used in a wow factor dining room or in smaller accent doses. I also like this type of color as a front door color to really contrast with a more muted house body. It's not the easiest one to incorporate, but it can absolutely have an impact. So I know why they put it in here. We now get to the second color of the year that was featured previously, and it's the cool, tropical, misty aqua. This aquamarine has a tiny bit of green, a little bit of blue, and it really has a nice balance of being saturated, but still not overly dominant as a color. This means you can use it more liberally compared to the bolder Caribbean blues that are much darker. But if you're into that, this color still has enough color where if you paired it with other tropical colors like pinks and oranges, it has enough to complement them really well. IRRADIANT Iris has a similar level of depth at an LRV of 73, but instead of blue and green, we get a little bit of gray and purple. The nice thing about these lighter colors is their undertones become more subtle, and that's because they contain less colorant in the actual paint. This color has a feeling of bright, full moonlight. It has a glow to it without being overly bright or stark. It's perfect for bedrooms because it'll feel bright and open in the mornings, but still have that smooth and subtle glow at night. Salal Leaves is our second green color in this palette, and although it does share some qualities to Silverleaf, it's a whole lot darker. Its LRV of 18 puts it as one of the darkest colors, which means it becomes an easy choice as an accent color on cabinets or furniture. I wouldn't say it contains a lot of blue, but there is that cool green feeling it has. There isn't a sense that there's an abundance of yellow in here, and more so just seems to be pretty much green with a bit of cool gray working its way in as well. Midsummer's Dream is our next color, and it takes Misty Aqua, removes a lot of the green in it, and deepens the overall color with an LRV of 60. I find colors in this category really work well with either soft gray neutral color palettes or any lighter mid-tone woods. It really works into that beige blue combination I like to use from time to time. Because it's pretty much a mid-tone color, its blue undertone will be pretty prominent, so be aware of that. If you really like blue, Canyon Blue is officially the darkest color on this list with an LRV of 17, and that's still enough to justifiably use it in an entire room if you really wanted to. It will be dark, but it's not nearly as dark as some of the more popular dark navy blues on the market. It has a richness to it, but it's also a little bit cloudy and gray tinted. It's closer to a dark denim blue rather than anything teal leaning, but I'm a fan of it and I think it's a soothing color considering how dark it is. Every good color palette should incorporate at least one white or off-white color, and this is largely due to how versatile they are. They can be used on your walls, ceilings, baseboards, doors. The possibilities are endless. The off-white in this collection is called Delicate White, and it has an extremely high LRV of 88. This means it's going to be very bright and vibrant, but its undertones are rooted in a little bit of warmth, which is perfect for the rest of the colors in this palette. Not enough to make it look yellowed, just enough to make it feel more attractive visually. Finally, the last color on this list is the third and final color of the year by Dulux, Transcend. This rich taupe has an LRV of 43, and essentially what you're getting here is a bit of a brown midtone that can sometimes show a little bit of peachiness, but its hint of yellow warmth gives it some more flexibility. Coincidentally, it works beautifully with blues and greens, which you get a lot of in this palette, so have fun incorporating these colors together for some truly awesome and soothing color combinations. If you want to know about the three colors of the year in Big Cypress, Misty Aqua, and Transcend, you can check out our separate video on them specifically right over here. We still have 2 other color palettes to talk about that utilize these colors in one form or another, so stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. That's it for this one. See you on the next one.